everybody, and welcome. I'm Visible Lady of Faith, and this is
her husband. Yay!
And today we're going to talk about the Sunday school lesson. And the title of today's lesson is Loving God and Loving Others.
That's correct.
And it's taken from?
It's Mark, the 12th chapter, 28-34, and also James 2, 14 through 17.
This lesson reminds us this lesson is talking about loving God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And to love our neighbors, people we come in contact with on a daily basis as we do ourselves. And we should, I believe, as believers, we should treat people fairly. We should be friendly and kind and non-argumentative. And sometimes...
Non-argumentative.
What? Not argumentative?
No, go ahead. But non-argumentative to me, it means, it always paints that picture that we as Christians, we're like little lambs, and we don't get angry. We just smiley. No, I don't go for that at all. Because the scripture said, "Be ye angry, but sin not."
Right. Okay, so that kind of sounds like super passive, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Okay, scratch that. Okay, so sometimes our tone can be received as, fingernails scratching on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
So that means when someone may say something, they may not have meant any harm, but we took it as harmful.
You got to get an understanding of whoever you're working with. Mm-hmm. That's the same way we have to get an understanding with God so we can understand what God wants. But see, that's why I look at God is love. I look at it as I worship love that believes in doing what's right, be as courteous and respectful. But sometimes wisdom has to come out, and sometimes you have to push back and rebuke people because they like to look at us like slaughtering little lambs. So I've heard this, and it's very profound in certain movies I've sat and looked at. That the villain turned around, he says, "If God didn't want to, me to slay them, He wouldn't have made them like sheep." Mm-hmm. Yeah, but see that didn't work out very well because that guy the villain ended up running into a buzzsaw in that movie.
We say we love God, whom we've never physically seen, but people we come in contact with every day.
We have a problem with them.
Yeah, sometimes we have a problem with them. Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't have the fruits of the spirits in Galatians. We don't have patience. We don't have self-control, and then we don't have endurance. In other words, our patience is very short with people, and we need to fix that. With ourselves. And I say when I'm gonna make sure I need to be worried about myself, and every individual worried about themselves. I'm not to fix her or nobody else but me.
I'm guilty of not being patient. I'm working on that. I am aware of my patience is short, so I'm working on that. So that's a challenge for me.
Yeah, we all have our challenges. This is just like in Paul. He always relate to athletes, the way they work out so they can compete. If it's running the 100 meters, the 200 meters, or playing a football, or basketball, or soccer, or football, international football, which is soccer, or American football, any sport, you got to get prepared for it. Just like the military, you just can't go out there and not be trained and be set up where you can win. Because if you're not just playing the sport, to be playing the sport, a sport is just you got a winner and you got a loser, and it's good. It's the same thing that we as Christians, we should get ourselves prepared, not just being a one-dimensional person. Because like the fruits of the spirits in Galatians, that we need self-control, we need patience, we need endurance, we need joy, we need love, and etc. Be the whole package. Put on the whole shield.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The whole armor. I'm sorry.
The whole armor. Okay.
Yeah.
So love is more than just going through some traditional ritual that may or may not have anything to do with showing love toward others. So I believe that we shouldn't be scared or hesitant about offering our service because of us feeling like inconvenienced.
Let's look at the humility that Jesus had. Now, the thing is, when Jesus was here, he did not sit there and demand anybody anything. He set up the gospel, and we have a choice to accept it and believe it or not. But what makes it profound to me is the fact is, I know it is a fact there is good on this planet, and I know it's a fact there's evil on this planet.
Right.
And since I know that is a fact, then why is it, our existence and everything like this? I'm not so ignorant that, there is no God. There is a God. And people say, prove it. Okay, I'm going to start at good and evil. You see that those that are true believers, if they understand what I'm saying, I believe that there is a God. There is a God because the experiences I've had, with my relationship with it.
The definition for this week, I have one word, which is debate. And I got that from the text scripture. So debate is to discuss a subject or a topic with someone who has a different perspective than you do.
The best example that I have of that, I've been doing a lot of debating and discussing, and I made it almost to 50 years of marriage to my wife that's here, and it's interesting because I have learned, I didn't think I was learning anything, but after I start paying more attention, it is interesting what I have learned, that everybody doesn't see exactly, the major thing is everybody don't see the world the way I see it. I never really thought that, but my behavior did not match what I really believe, so I had to change my behavior to match what, that, yeah, I understand. Well, I wouldn't say I understand. I take the effort to look and see what my wife, how she sees things. And when I sit and look through her eyes, I'll just say it this way, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is probably off top, but yeah, the relationship, I mean, to really think about who you are and how you feel about things, I think being married kind of opens up that window so you can take a look at yourself and the other person, and like you say, your perspectives on different things or your lack of perspective on different things, and then realize how much you need to learn.
And then when you open yourself and make yourself vulnerable and start looking at stuff, then you're really entering the world of true love. Because this true love that Jesus Christ had for us, he has some very insight, and it's the same thing, that you'll be more forgiving. Yes, it is frustrating. Yes, it's going to drive you nuts. Yes, of course it is. But at the same time, as you get older, God will humble you. And then so far, I think I'm doing fine because I'm still playing racquetball at 75, and I feel pretty good, and I can still compete. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, it's a possibility. I hate to be where my kids had to start, wiping the drool off my face and start changing my diaper. I wouldn't like that. But at the same time, that's why I trust God that be like my parents. In my last day be my better days, and I will not be a burden on my family.
Right.
While the next generation. So that's why we should be paying attention to ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. We should take care of all three of those categories.
Right. So our daily life applications, what we can learn from this lesson, loving God and loving others, that we can apply to everyday life. One of the main things that I have is to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. So what do I mean by that? I mean, we know what we're supposed to do. So the next question is, what kind of action or behavior or deeds are accompanied by faith? We say we have faith in God and we love others. And these are just like reminders that we hear all the time. This is not new. Like they said, things that happen is not new. Like we should trust God and trust and believe that He is in control during difficult times, and believing in the power of prayer. Helping someone in need.
Yeah, all these things are good, but see the problem is that people don't understand, the process, what's going on. Like sometimes, like when I got my education, I can tell you the story how it all ends up because, at first I had to get out of my mind that I was not college material. Then the other thing I had to do is understand my support system. And then the other thing I had to understand was God really giving me the approval to go and get my education. And I know that first quarter, it was really interesting because I had straight A's in my first quarter. And then I turned around and it was clear in my prayers. And God said, okay, now you understand you were given the approval? I said, yes, sir, and kept going. And then when things got really ugly, I told you all the different stories that I ran into with the professors and what have you. I would have to say that gave me the courage and bold that I actually, to make a long story short, I actually told a professor that he was not a teacher to his face in front of the whole entire classroom. And you can see, and
You told him that he couldn't teach.
no, he wasn't a teacher. I didn't
He
say
wasn't a teacher. Oh, he wasn't a teacher. I thought you told me.
No, I didn't tell him he couldn't teach.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't a teacher.
He wasn't a teacher.
Because he wasn't teaching, because I would prefer to have his notes and just not come to class and take the midterm and the final and be done. And see, I was bold enough and also learned to say it, I wasn't saying it to shame the person. I was just trying to say, his ideology, I was supposed to accept it and shut up.
Or his method. I mean, the method of teaching may not work for everybody.
Right.
So his method didn't work for you.
No, it didn't work for me.
So you let him know,
yeah,
this is not working.
And it only doesn't stop there. I had taken him actually in another class in another department. And at the end there, what happened there, like I said, I don't want to tell the whole story, but we became and had a better understanding in the second class. And he was not, he understood then why I said what I said that night. Because I wasn't there to hurt him. I was there to let him know I was not getting the information that I thought I needed in order to be successful with that class. Okay?
Okay.
So it was a lot of things. So, you're not there because I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't being rude or anything like that and trying to belittle him because you're not going to accomplish anything. That's what love is about.
Right.
You don't want to control people out of fear and make them feel inferior to yourself. Everybody, we should look as a family together. That's the key.
So you don't think that, like I said earlier about treat people fairly, you were treating him fairly because you told him how you felt about
Okay, that word debate that you use.
Yeah, debate, yes.
Okay, I'm going to just use a different word. There was a conflict and it had to be discussed or I was just going to sit there and take that nonsense.
Come to an understanding.
We had to come to an understanding.
Come to an understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all it was.
Good. Have a discussion, come to an understanding.
Right.
Okay, so continue on. What kind of actions or behavior these are accompanied by faith, words of encouragement. We can encourage someone when they're feeling down.
Yep.
And we can offer a non-judgmental listening ear or advice.
Because all these things that you're saying, you can't see. We have a habit as human beings, just work on one. No, we got to balance all of those because sometimes you need to be in a listening mode. Sometimes you need to be in a trust mode. Sometimes you need to be in a prayerful mode. And etc.
Yeah.
If what I'm saying is not this day I'm going to be this. No,
Right.
you're doing this here, flipping from one of these things all the way through your life. You're constantly doing that. You got to learn how to juggle all of those.
That's why it's a list of things, and we, like I said, we're not going to do it all in one day. Depends on the situation. What we're going to do.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So another thing is like getting over disappointments quicker. That's I guess something I can improve on.
You can split it up and help the person.
Okay, and also I think that a witness can be ineffective if the other person too is trying to undermine. Let's see, how can I say this? Try to undermine what you're trying to do or the right things that you're trying to do. Because it mentioned in the book, in the lesson about, in the lesson, but the author's explanation of the scriptures about how Jesus was treated, and his credibility was in being questioned because, like, what is the chief priests and the teachers of the law and the elders and the Pharisees and the Herodians and the Sadducees, they had problems with him. And I think they may have had problems with him because people were listening to him, and they didn't want their what's that word? Thunder taken away from them. Lack of a better word.
See, the one thing is leadership. If you stop and think about it, people want to follow. Leaders want you to follow their barking orders.
Right.
You do what I tell you to do. And why are you doing that? Because the leader wants to be their ego stroked,
Power.
and they want the power.
They want the power.
That's
right.
what they want.